What's up, y'all? I'm Blue Black, and welcome back to the Dogman Cometh. It's been a while, and I see that we finally hit that 500 subscriber mark and passed it. I'm happy to see that. I really appreciate all the support and everything I've been getting. And I've been working through a few things. I haven't been able to do it yet, but I'm working on an idea, for something special, or at least a little special, that I don't normally do for the next video that I'm working on. And it's for the 500 mark, and I hope y'all enjoy that when I get it done. Well, with this video, I've come upon 4 stories out of Canada that I thought were very interesting, and I hope that the majority of you guys will enjoy it. I know I enjoyed going through and reading them and everything, and I tried to shorten them up just a little bit because one of them ran pretty long and it was hard to follow unless it was shortened up just a little bit, but it wasn't too much taken out of it. But I hope you enjoy these stories, and y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Holla, holla, holla. In British Columbia in 1966, a man was hunting with an acquaintance in the pine pass near Bijou Falls. We were awakened around 4 by howling. When we went outside to investigate, I saw a large wolf standing in the trees. My friend picked up his rifle, fired a shot. In response, the wolf dropped to all 4s and retreated into the darkness. 3 days later, after no luck hunting, we packed up and were leaving. As we reached the train tracks, I became aware of a presence following us. When I turned, I saw what looked like a large wolf striding toward us along the tracks. Once again, my friend shot at it from a distance of about 100 feet. It charged us, and he shot it once more, and I fired a shot as well. The wolf was hit by the second shot, and it immediately dropped to all 4s once more and retreated to the tree line, where it then again stood up and stared at us. We ran half a kilometer to the truck. As we were driving away, the wolf appeared once more. It had an evil look upon its face. It chased our truck for around 1/2 of a kilometer. (2008) Quebec, Canada. An old friend and I saw a dogman in Chateauguay in Quebec, Canada. The year was the summer of 2008, if my memory is correct. During a late evening hike with my friend in the park, like around 9 to 10 p.m., we began to feel followed. It was an animal who acted very weird, emitting dog sounds, strange dog sounds. When we returned to the entrance of the park, this thing cleverly followed us at the edge of the wood to avoid the light at the entrance of the park so that we could not see it. It was like he knew that we couldn't see anything at night, and the light would reveal him. When we were running back to the parking area, my friend and I entered the car in a hurry. When he ignited the car, my friend saw the face of the beast. 2 to 3 meters from the window, standing on 2 feet, staring at him with a creepy grin. My friend is a very tough guy, normally, who knows the forest very well. He has seen lots of predators in the past, and it never bothered him. It was the first time I saw him terrified like that. A couple of days ago, his father saw a muscular and massive black dog in Leary, a small town near Chateauguay. Around their little cabin in the woods, close to a marsh, the creature had large shoulders, and it confronted the father of my friend by staring at him from a distance of 5 to 6 meters. The moment the father of my friend tried to reach for a kind of spear-like weapon to confront the creature, it ran away into the marsh very fast to never come back. His father never told us about his story until we talked about our encounter. So maybe it was the same beast living in the area, or another one living in the same area. This we may never know. Central New Brunswick, 1940s. Granddad said when he was a teenager, he and his older brother Duke were up in the early hours, checking trap lines on an old motorbike. It was early fall. Frost was on the grass and early morning mists still hung around the forest edges. He was rolling cigarettes with his brother and they were out of matches, so they dipped a bit of cloth in the gas tank and ignited it off of the coil wire while Duke kicked the bike over. The sound of a bike being kicked over without an ignition is sort of like an animal call. That's how Granddad described it anyhow. Anyways, just as they started smoking their cigarettes, my grandfather noticed something bounding through the tree line toward them. Granddad said it ran like the same way a bear did, but it stopped several yards away from them and stood up on its hind legs. It was still too far away to tell what it was exactly, but they assumed it was a black bear, because they are very common in New Brunswick. That's when it began walking upright toward them. As it got nearer, Granddad said it looked like a huge werewolf. His family origin was German, so this was not unknown. It got as close as 20 feet away from them and then began to eye them closely. It sniffed their smokes and then turned and half hopped, half ran back to the tree line. Granddad said they were not scared or anything, just caught off guard. He said they were only shocked that such a creature was living in the woods. Granddad said it was taller than any man, had a huge head, evil-looking eyes, and long, upright ears, and hands with long claws, and that it had hair all over its body. I can't remember what color he said the fur was, but it said he had wolf-like legs. (2014) Nova Scotia. There has been a werewolf sighting in Glencree, Nova Scotia on March 9th of 2014. A man was driving home from a party in town at around 2 a.m. in the morning when a deer ran across the road at about 50 yards in front of him. It zipped across the road from the left side to the right down over a steep embankment, moving as fast as anything I'd ever seen, he stated. He later added, a second later, a big animal chased after the deer, but just before tumbling into the crevice, it stood on its back legs and stared into the headlights, its eyes glowing, and then it was gone. And this wasn't the only evidence that was found. A local farmer found a cow dead in the field behind his barn, completely eviscerated with huge chunks of meat missing from the corpse, and large bloody tracks leading off into the woods. It is important to note that Glencree does not have a large population, mostly scattered houses surrounded by woods. It is an area where only a few people hunt, as hunters constantly complain about a feeling of being watched. A survey of the area around the possible sighting site turned up a few deer tracks and a reddish smear just off the road, down over the bank, but a sample could not be taken due to the steep nature of the area. Now, what I'm getting out of these stories, not just this video in particular, but out of all the stories that I've read, it's beginning to tell me a few very, very interesting things. Now, these encounters and sightings, they can happen absolutely anywhere. Whether you're out in the bush, you're out in the boonies, whether you're in a rural area or inside city limits. The chances that I mean, don't get me wrong, the chances that you're going to see one are rare, but location does not play a factor in that. I mean, not as big of a factor as you think it would. Of course, you're more likely to see one or see anything of that nature, in a wooded area, somewhere, out in the fucking boondocks or something, out in the marsh, out in the swamp, out in the bayou, out in the forest. You get my drift on that. But you're also just as likely to see them anywhere else because they're not afraid to come up into city limits. I mean, if you see one, most people, if they see them on all fours, they're just going to be like, well, that's a big ass dog, or that's a big ass wolf or something like that. They're not going to think too much about it, other than that's just one big animal. And another thing that I'm beginning to find, and that connects all these is, I don't know if it's just the stories can get around a lot easier now than they could decades ago, but these encounters seem to be more and more frequent. Like, there's more and more coming out of the woodworks. People are willing to share their experiences and their encounters a lot more. And, I mean, that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear that. But at the same time, I feel like the Dogman community is splitting apart in some way. And that's not good, people. I mean, we got to stick together on this, you know what I'm saying? And, I mean, every little bit of information helps. Everybody involved in this is helping, man. From the biggest guy to the smallest guy. And anywhere in between. It doesn't matter if you're out there in the field, like taking tracks and shit, plaster casts and shit. Or if you're just taking down people's encounters, which is a very big thing now. Or you're just trying to spread the story along to somebody else, little bitty shit like that. Just trying to get the word out there that these things are indeed out there. And not just them, not just Dogman, many other things. And that's what's important. Because if we can't trust the people who know, what are we left to do than to just share the information amongst ourselves and try to put pieces together like a puzzle? Anyway, I guess that's all for this, or at least this time around. I'll see you guys next time. This is Blue Black. Thank you for joining me on the Dogman Cometh. Take it easy, my friends.